What's going on, YouTube? This is BBSP. I know I'm a couple days late on this, but I want to congratulate the Golden State Warriors on winning the 2022 NBA Championship. You know, I had Warriors in 6 because I thought their experience and the fact that they've been there before, and, you know, even though they've had a different cast, their core was still there. Steph Curry, Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, Andre Iguodala. Of course, you got Steve Kerr, the coach. I thought that, you know, as solid as Ime Udoka was with Boston, you know, and getting them to the finals, I just thought their experience in the collective basketball IQ of the Golden State Warriors was going to put them over the top, and that's exactly what happened. You know what I mean? Steph Curry had a dominant series. I think the 43 points in Game 4 pretty much turned that series around because I ain't going to lie, they were treading in the wrong direction. I thought the physicality of the Boston Celtics was going to lead to an upset. But, you got to give props to Steph Curry, man. You got to give props to the Golden State Warriors. They figure out the Celtics defense. They stood up to the physicality. They figured it out. You know what I mean? End of the day, you got to give them their props. You got to give them their props because for a while we've criticized Golden State for not being able to stand up to physical, dominant teams. Physical teams down low that can take away their strengths. And they have another gear, right? They have another gear, you know what I mean? They had another gear, they exposed another gear. They got another gear and they won another, they end up winning the championship. Steph Curry, of course, finals MVP. With 32.9 points per game, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. I'm not sure about the final numbers, but excuse me, can't forget about Andrew Wiggins. Andrew Wiggins was pretty solid in the finals, man. You know what I mean? He had a legit, like a slight argument for Finals MVP, but I understand why they gave it to Steph. Steph was dominant, you know what I mean? Game 4 pretty much put a stamp on it, but Wiggins played pretty good. Wiggins played pretty good, man. He played pretty good, I gotta say, man. You know what I mean? Because Jason Tatum was on a tear from the first round right up into the finals. Even though Boston was in a hole, 3-2 hole, the next 2 series after they swept the Nets, Jason Tatum was solid outside of maybe 1 or 2 games. But I'm not going to put the finals loss on Jason Tatum because, he's a young, budding star, up-and-coming star, okay? And you can't really blame him for that. You really can't really blame him for that. I mean, he's green, you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure he has a few superstar seasons ahead of him, but you got to give credit to Andrew Wiggins, man, because he had Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum in the cell. And in some ways, Marcus Smart, because Marcus Smart was had everybody on lockdown. But because, the versatility of Andrew Wiggins, I feel like Andrew Wiggins was his second best player in these finals, hands down. Draymond out here kind of declining. Clay's really not the same and shit. So you really gotta give props to Andrew Wiggins, man. He's probably emerging as the second best player on the Warriors right now. Of course, you got Jordan Poole, you got Gary Payton in second, you got Kevon Looney, you got Kuminga. Who didn't even play. But thing is, you gotta give props to Golden State, man. They had sustained greatness for past 7 years. Their first championship in 2015, a lot of people might question it and shit. A lot of people might say they only won it because of injuries. And I really wasn't a fan of the KD move, you know what I mean? I just feel like it was kind of weak. It was weak. It was weak. It was weak. You know what I mean? I just feel like, as a competitor, feel like as guy that likes parity in the league, somewhat parity in the league, you know what I mean? I just felt like that whole run with KD and Golden State was just, it's kind of watered down to me, man. You know what I mean? Because you knew from way off top they were gonna win. They were gonna win. You know what I mean? Them two seasons they were together, 2017, 2018, and December 2019 before KD got hurt. Uh, you knew they were gonna win the whole thing, man. And it kind of took some luster off of Golden State's run because it was too damn easy, you know. So in other words, they needed to validate their run. They validated their run with this championship, I feel. And Steph Curry, speaking of which, validated himself because there's been a lot of knock that Steph Curry is not a top 15, top 10 player of all time, but he kind of treaded in that right direction. He kind of shook off that notion that he's not a driving force. He's not one of the main cogs and engines in a championship team. But speaking of Steph Curry, I up until this championship, I didn't have Steph Curry in my top 20 all time, man. I had him right in the top 25. I felt like, number one, he was a late bloomer. Number two, he was kind of too dependent on the three-point shot to be dominant. And number three, like I said, you can easily game plan for Steph Curry by being physical and straight, putting pressure on him. I felt like in some ways he kind of wilted away. He kind of wilted away. You know what I mean? In like big games and everything, you know what I mean? And the fact that he didn't win Finals MVP, plus the fact that he played with Kevin Durant, where it's a 1 and 1A thing, right? Kind of took away from his all-time standing, in my opinion. Even though he's still great, but I gotta be honest, man. I gotta be honest here. His resume is starting to get up there, man. Not to the point where he's top 5 or top 10, but at this point, man, I gotta put him in my top 15. You know, like I said, there's a lot of players that are ahead of a lot of players that are better players and shit. You know what I mean? But I feel like you look at Isaiah Thomas. Now, Isaiah Thomas, I feel like he don't get the credit he deserves. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like up until this point, he was the third best point guard of all time. You know, but Isaiah peak years, I say, were from 1984 to 1990. That's like a 6-year span, whereas Steph Curry has been dominant from 2000, you could say 2013 and up until now. That's 9 years. So Steph Curry already has Isaiah Thomas beat. You know what I mean? And for a while, I fought the notion that Isaiah Thomas was surpassed by Steph Curry, but because of his resume and the body of work, I got to concede it, man. I mean, I'm not one of these guys where it's get off my lawn and shit, you know what I mean, and get off. I'm bitter because I don't like the new era players. I can't think like that, man, because I can't think that process. You know what I mean? Because then I'd be dishonest and I wouldn't be fair to the game. You know what I mean? I wouldn't be fair to the game of basketball and shit if I just had my personal bias. You know? But like I said before, who's a better point guard? Oh, it's no question. Because I feel like Steph can play point guard, but he's more of a scoring point guard. You know what I mean? He's a scoring point guard. You know what I mean? Sort of like Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf. A lot of people thought Mahmoud Abdul-Rauf was a point guard, right? But he could score, in abundance. But Steph is a more advanced version of that, you know? Kevin Garnett. I had Kevin Garnett ahead of Steph Curry, but Kevin Garnett, as a Defensive Player of the Year, he's won MVP. He's made a few all defensive and all first teams, all NBA first teams, but now that Steph has had that one dominant finals run and Kevin Garnett doesn't have a finals MVP, even though Kevin Garnett is a better two-way player, I feel like Steph's dominance on the offensive end outweighs Kevin Garnett's lack of achievements being a two-way player on the offensive defensive end. Kevin Durant, now this is where it gets tricky. Kevin Durant, you know, I mean, Kevin Durant and eligibility. See, I moved Steph Curry right on the edge of my top 15. You know, I'm not sure I want to put him past Moses Malone yet. If it's 15A, 15B, it's between them. But Kevin Durant, you know, I mean, I know Kevin Durant seemed like Kevin Durant was the more dominant player when he went to Golden State, right? But we can't ignore the fact that Kevin Durant didn't have no double teams on the Golden State Warriors. He always had one-on-one coverage. Everybody was worried about Steph Curry and Klay Thompson. You put double coverage on Kevin Durant, you go to a 2-3 zone on Kevin Durant, that opens up the game for Steph Curry, who I feel like is a better shooter than Kevin Durant. But Kevin Durant is a more well-rounded offensive player. I feel like Kevin Durant, you know, if I'm drafted between those two, I'm taking Kevin Durant because Kevin Durant is more versatile offensively. But there's something needs to be said about what Kevin Durant was before Golden State, what Kevin Durant was with Golden State, and what Kevin Durant is now. The fact that Kevin Durant got swept, and plus he never been past the Eastern Conference Finals, the same Eastern Conference that so-called was weak and LeBron dominated in, that speaks volumes, man. That speaks volumes, you know? And the fact that Steph got back to the finals before KD did, that speaks volumes within itself, you know? So Kevin Durant might be the better player, you know, one-on-one, the more physically gifted player. But if we talking leadership, we talk about dominance, we talk about resume, I feel as though Steph Curry has surpassed Kevin Durant, even though I think basketball-wise, just within the game of basketball, KD is probably a better player. But as far as leadership, dominance, accolades, Steph Curry has surpassed Kevin Durant and Elgin Baylor. Because, you know, Elgin Baylor, he had some dominant seasons prior to retirement in 1972, right? But the fact of the matter is, as great as Elgin Baylor was, Steph Curry is adding on to his resume, you know? So in my estimation right now, I feel like Steph Curry is on the cusp of being top 15, and he's in my top 20. He's in my top 20 right now, you know? Steph Curry, and he has an opportunity to move up a little bit more. Whether he can get in that top 10 or not, we'll see. But top 5, I'm going to be honest with y'all. I got my doubts about top 5. Yeah, I even got my odds, you know, I got my doubts about top 10 and shit, you know, because, again, he was a late bloomer, number one. Number two, the style of play has kind of hinders his numbers because one game he's hot and he can't miss. Next game, he's going up against a physical type defense and shit, right? And he doesn't have a secondary style to his game. If they take away the three-point shot, he very rarely goes to the drive. He keeps jacking up threes, and at some kind, you know, he gets himself tired out. he physically drains himself, you know. But I still feel like that's a kind of a flaw in his game. But I'm not going to take away from what he accomplished this season. And it wouldn't be fair of me to say because he just won a Finals MVP, he got to stay where he's at. I can't operate in that presumption. So for me, to be fair, Steph Curry is definitely a top 15, borderline top 15, definitely a top 20 player of all time now. And I think he surpassed like 4, maybe 5 guys on the all-time list. But let me know what y'all think real quick. And who are y'all got Steph Curry right now, man? I want to gauge the temperature in the room, man. Is he top 10 for y'all? Is he top 15? Is he top 20? Or he didn't move up? This championship and finals MVP really didn't move the needle for anybody. But let me know, man. I'm gonna hit y'all up later on.